Catalytic converters and you, yeah. That's right, kids. This is about what happens when fucking Dodge with a catalytic converter that's 25 fucking years old goes sour. As in, real sour. So, basically, 1998 Dodge 2500 wasn't shifting. Dropped the pin, did the filter on the transmission, and wouldn't not you know, filter was original to the hot rod, to the 2500. Bad. Really funky. Cleaned it all up, did that, still wouldn't shift. Remember, kids, I'm old school. Give me something that's the 80s and bingo, bango, bongo. Can do it. Right? 400 big block Pontiac. Done. Right? Not difficult. Give me a 1940s Ford tractor. Done. Not difficult. Okay? This has a computer and it's OBD2 compliant. So, even though it's a crude OBD2, obviously, the point was, next step was dropping the gas tank, redoing the fuel pump and everything, which is a gigantic pain in the ass because of the connector that was on it, on the fuel line. Anyway, that turned out fine. It was just since it's just me, it's a 34-gallon tank, so it's a pain in the ass to drop. Even empty, it was a pain in the ass, and more of a pain in the ass to put it in. But I learned, about fuel pumps nowadays, not the old school that was inline or mechanical fuel pumps, right? No, this is in the tank fuel pump stuff. So that left with, well, what do we do next? What do I do next? Okay, we go ahead and we get a scanner, all right, which is a Zurich ZR11S scanner, and I plug it up and it starts showing me emissions problems, right? And the voltage output on the O2 sensors was way too high. But remember, this is the first time I've ever done any of this, so I'm going, what the hell is an O2 sensor? I've heard them. What the fuck is a map sensor? Don't know nothing about it. So you have to sit down and crack open the old book and read through. Oh, okay, this is what the O2 sensor does. Upstream, downstream, regulates the voltages, tells the PCM, powertrain module, computer, to inject more fuel or lean it out. Okay? And so I was like, okay, the voltages are 1 volt all the time on both. There's something obviously wrong here. So I was bouncing what I was talking about to other people, mechanics. Hey, what is this? What is it? Oh, okay, this is what it sounds like, because if it's not shifting into overdrive, you may look at this, that, or the other. And I was like, oh, okay, well, this is a fairly simple fucking 316, baby, which I think the kids call it a 5.2 liter nowadays, which is stupid to me. It's a 316, great fucking motor. All right, Dodge does make, or used to make, great motors. Not a 360, unfortunately. A 360 is getting it on, if you know what I'm saying. Anyway, so obviously I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, but it's time to drop the exhaust, because we do know it's the O2 sensors, because it doesn't make any sense to yank the O2 sensors without seeing what's inside the 25-year-old catalytic converter that nobody's ever took care of. So you can see where this is already going. So good for you if you did. So again, I don't know anything about catalytic converters. Never touched one. Don't know nothing about them, because all my vehicles prior to this didn't have to worry about that. Okay. So what do I do? Well, crawl up under there, drop the exhaust, pull it out. Sure enough, there's stuff rattling around in the catalytic converter, and I've got pictures up there so you can see. I may have slightly modified. I took the door off. That's right, it came with a door in the catalytic converter, a hatch. It came with it. I didn't do that. I'm not going to do illegal stuff. So it came with a hatch. So I simply opened the hatch and took the door off the catalytic converter, because that's what we do. And as you can see, about 60% of the catalytic converter is missing. And it's all plugged up in the rear. All right, the front is missing. The rear is there, packed full. The honeycomb is packed full of the previous dustified, atomized cat. Okay, the guts of the cat. Meow. So, obviously, as you can see, that had to all come out. Okay, very impressive. Many such cases, very impressive. I was like, I didn't know that this was possible, and we learn something new every day. So, of course, I cleaned it out. Then, of course, I had to sit and go, gee, I wonder if all of that is in my muffler. 60% of my catalytic converter is missing. I wonder if it's in my muffler. So, I took the access doors off of my muffler, opened the doors, opened the hatches on my muffler, and guess what? I don't know why I did that. There's nothing wrong with the fucking muffler. But it did have a ton of that old dust in there. And as you would know, it's got platinum and all different kinds. Don't care. So, then of course, I didn't just want to leave the catalytic converter door off. I mean, it came with the door built into it. And so, you know, it's highly possible. I put the door back on, but it was a little dented. I was a little rough with it, so I had to weld the door back onto the catalytic converter. It came with the door on it, kids. That's what it is, a hatch. So you could open up and look inside and fix it. All right? So that's that. Now, you'd be saying, well, how did it work, Slappy? Well, hold on. Then I had to learn about O2 sensors, front and rear, what kind they are, what they do. Now, I do have some thoughts on modifications of your O2 sensors to feed back voltage from the heaters if it's a 4-wire, but I don't know what resistor to use for that. So, in other words, I used to do electronics 30 some odd years ago, all right, but my point was, it's been a long time, so I don't know what the power drop you're looking for is going to be on that, because the heaters are 12 volt, but I don't know the amperage of the heater side, and I don't know the amperage on the computer side. Okay, because it's 4-wire. So you got 2 for heater, 1 for ground, and then 1 for computer. And you don't want to feed the wrong voltage to your computer and blow it up and cost you a whole fucking deal. So, what did we do? Well, obviously, we fixed the O2 sensors. And you might be saying, how did you fix the rear one? Is there... Well, let's theoretically discuss how this catalytic converter... Yeah, I totally... It's got brand new guts in it, so it'll do emissions, right? That's totally what I did. It's up to date on emissions. It passed the emissions test on the scanner. Let's just say this, okay? Let's be real about this. You know, I'm not saying theoretically or hypothetically that I put the guts in there, and you'll ask me, how did you do that? I can just tell you I did it. Okay? Stop with all your fucking questions about it. I mean, because I don't live in California, but I also hear a lot of bad stories about some things. So, anyway, I, quote, put new cat guts in the catalytic converter, unquote, and then welded the access door back on. It came with the access door. I welded it back on, so obviously it'll work great now. And then you'll be like, well, what about your O2 sensors? Well, 2 new O2 sensors, 1 in the front, unmodified, 1 in the rear. Sure enough, guess what works? A little old trick of spark plug extenders that fit exactly into the rear O2 sensor hole, the downstream one. As you can see in the picture, it's right before the muffler. Okay? Now, you have to drill both of them out, so the O2 sensor can pass down through there, and it works great. All the power I've been missing for I don't know how long. Remember, these are newer vehicles. It was acting sluggish, And then, of course, it suddenly decided not to shift, and it had been shifting for a long time. A little slow, soft. How about that? So you put those two spark plug extenders in there, then you put the O2 sensor in there, and then you plug them up. Now, I did have a problem going which one is front, which one is rear, until Dodge was nice enough to go, oh, the plugs are very specific to each one. You can't cross them. So, slits in the front, holes to the rear. You'll know it when you see them, when you look at an O2 sensor. Slits to the front. Okay, anyway. So, all of my power's there. Passes emissions. Keeping the voltage like it should be throughout the power range. I'm sure it's not perfect. I'm sure I don't give a shit. Okay. This fucking thing don't get but 12 miles a gallon or 15 miles a gallon anyway. It gets better mileage now. I don't know actually how much it gets now, but I think top would be like 18 miles to the gallon on a 316 2500. So anyway, and you'll be saying, well, Slabby, why would you just not go buy the brand new stuff? Well, kids, you're not wrong in asking. I don't know if you know this, but when it's all said and done, it's going to run you $800-900 if I had to take this to someone. Okay? Well, I'm going to throw that out. This is going to blow your mind. The internet is free. Time is free to me. I've got it. I already come packaged with time to use and spend on this. So it was basically nothing more than I've already got all the parts required inherently, but I did not want to reuse the O2 sensors because I figure at least one of them was bad, because I have no idea the previous owners how. My guess is they treated this really rough and never did any maintenance on it. So I'm learning years later, okay, and now we understand what a map sensor is and an O2 sensor and da-da-da and da-da-da, okay? All right. Now we're learning how to plug a scanner in and run a scanner and clear your DTs and all that stuff. All right, okay. Now we know how to reset this and reset that and da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay? Okay. Now, again, you would be like, well, that didn't explain why you just didn't get, a whole new pipe and everything. Well, again, that's like $600-700 on that, the new exhaust, because that exhaust is the two coming off the manifold. It's two exhausts, your left, your right, coming into a welded cat. Okay, now you're correct. I could just cut the cat out and then put the other new one in, or I could just use the cat with new, quote, new guts, unquote, in it. Okay, and it would do the same thing. Why am I throwing away a perfectly good exhaust? Okay. Now, one thing is true. I did just give up on the muffler. You can look at me welding the hatches back onto the muffler and be like, that seems very sus, and very sketch. And it's like, you're right. It was just an experiment to see if I could weld metal that thin with a MIG. All right, I'm not a welder. And yes, you can. Yes, you can. Just like you can weld a cat. I didn't say it was great. You spend enough time on it and she'll be airtight. But my point was, I'm not experiencing any exhaust leaks. My point was, the old muffler just had to go anyway. There was nothing inherently wrong with it that I could tell. The new muffler wasn't $80, so that's fine. I'll eat that. So, see, you're looking at 100, 200, 260, $260 versus $800. So that was me doing $260, $270 with a new scanner that I can use on any vehicle that I want. So just drive your truck up to this video, to the front of this video. You drive right up, and I'll open the door, and I'll plug across the internet, I will plug in my Zurich scanner, which works. I have no complaints. It saved me $900, because I don't know how much labor would be if you had to take it in, and I don't know how sketchy they would be, you know what I mean? So that's that. I'm just saying, can you do it? Yes. Should you do it? Maybe. Not in California, though. I'm just going to say, especially if yours does not come with an access hatch. My catalytic converter comes with a door. All right, it comes with the door, the utility door. You open the catalytic converter and look in there. Oh, well, yeah. But I didn't want the hinges to go bad or nothing, so I made sure to permanently weld that hatch back on there. Okay? I'm just saying, it was a special made catalytic converter that they made just for that year. I'm not lying to you either. All right? Just for that year. Just for that year. So, there you go. You can save yourself a lot of money doing it that way. I'm not suggesting you do it that way. I'm just telling you, okay, yes, it took way too long for me to do, but then again, lots of things I didn't know about, had to learn about it, and not that hard to learn about it. It's on the internet and it's for free. All of human knowledge is. Why more people don't do that, I don't know. So, all I can tell you is it runs like a friggin' champ now. Like it better than when I got it. And it was $900 when I got it, so I literally have a third of the price of the vehicle in parts already. Okay, just going to blow your mind on that one. Now, if you throw in the fuel pump, of course, that was, I don't remember how much fuel pump was, 100, I think. And here's the good news. The old fuel pump was still working, so I can use the old fuel pump to literally use it for anything. You can use it as a sump pump. You can use it for whatever the hell you want. It's just a 12-volt electric pump. So you can use it in anything else, and it's going to be running, 40, 50 pounds of pressure? And it runs on 12 volts. So you can always find a use for the old pump. You don't throw your stuff away unless you got to throw it away. Okay? In this case, I think the internal filter on the fuel pump may have been pretty funky, and it was original. Again, the fuel pump was original to that Dodge, so it's not killing or hurting anything to go ahead after 25 years and replace that. Now, I'm just going to say that I don't hate Dodges. Dodges all vehicles are vehicles, okay? That 316 is great. The transmission is just fine, and all I had to do was that. And we learned, okay, all kinds of stuff can have an impact on the computerization of the PCM. Now, the evap stuff I don't know about because it runs good. If I have any more problems, I'll go into the evap system and, quote, legally modify it, unquote. Okay? Legally, kids, legally, I'm not telling you to do anything illegal. I'm just saying. Okay? Just saying. Alright. So, there you have it. You have learned as much as I know on outdated OBD2 stuff. Okay? Which is, like I said, 25 years old. It's out of date. So I'm not exactly telling you anything new. Though the new ones have way, way more funky stuff that you can do with them. The new ones you can do, what is it? Well, yeah, now I could do it on this, on the 316, the IM monitor, the live monitoring. So you could check voltages on the O2 sensors and all that type of stuff. But it was really crazy. It wouldn't let you do everything on it because the vehicle is not set up for it. I mean, that's an old 2500. It's not really set up to be doing monitoring the tire pressure and all this other weird shit that they add to the motors now. So all I can tell you is you learn. You know what I mean? It takes a while, but you learn all kinds of different little stuff if you want to. And it didn't hurt to have a welder. That old MIG welder was a piece of junk that come out of a garage sale for less than $100. I fixed it up, right? It's just a MIG welder. Just throw some solid flux core in there. Don't need no damn shield and gas. I'm not doing welding that nice, as you can tell. I mean, I'm not going to win no awards from the FFA on my welding. I'm not a welder. So In fact, I'm just farting around learning how to do stick welding, and here in a while I'll learn how to do carbon arc air, so I can cut. All right, with an arc welder. So that's it, kids. Hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't enjoy it, I don't blame you. You was looking for something else, me doing something else, and what you got was friggin' catalytic converters in you. That's right, catalytic converters in you. How to do it legally. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, man, that's what I was going to say.